What's up, good people? Good morning, it's your man Cam. Just wanted to jump on here and talk to you guys. I was out yesterday and, just driving around and seeing people panhandling out on the streets or what have you. And so I decided to just look into something. And these were some apartments that I once lived in which I paid about $435 a month for rent to stay in these apartments. And granted, don't get me wrong, it's been about, I would say, it may even be 10 years at this point since I've stayed in those apartments. I can't remember exactly how long it's been, but I would say it's probably been about 10 years since I moved out. But regardless of all that, I looked at the cost per month to stay in these apartments, in which these apartments aren't the best of apartments. We're talking about, for a one bedroom, you're talking about 900 square feet at the most for a one bedroom. When I stayed over there was a gentleman that his life was taken over in those apartments, and as well there was a shooting outside of my apartment where me and my family, we had to get down on the floor because there was so many gunshots, to where I think at the time the young man may have been 15 years old, and it was accused to have been gang related. But regardless, a 15-year-old got shot several times outside of my apartment. And so, like I said, I went to look and see how much it is to stay in those apartments now. And like I said, I paid $435 a month. Now, the lowest cost apartment in that area is $900 a month. So we're talking about pretty much a $450, $500 increase from what I paid to what it is now. And like I said, it's been 10 years, but we still have to factor in things like hourly pay, the cost of other goods and utility costs. All these things have gone up except for the pay. The pay hasn't gone up, but utility costs has gone up. And I say this because we're trying to combat homelessness in different cities, but the people who own these apartments and who are buying up houses in different areas are being allowed to increase the cost of staying in these places, but yet the people aren't making more money in order to compensate for the difference in the cost of housing going up. And it's sad, y'all, because like I say, what made me look into it is I went into these other apartments that I had been in several times before, and these apartments that I'm speaking of now are not in the best of shape. And I guess the owners decided to add some type of family center or something inside the apartments, which it looks great, brand spanking new, but the apartments look run down, which makes no sense to me. And so that's why I decided to look into the cost of staying in these apartments. And these apartments are in Stone Mountain off Memorial Drive, y'all. So if anybody's familiar with the Stone Mountain area, knows that Stone Mountain has gone down drastically. Things used to be a lot different in Stone Mountain as far as on Memorial Drive, and now it is that looks like it's in ruins, to be honest with you. Businesses have left. You see people on every corner with signs saying that they need money for food and things like that. To which, like I said, when I was younger, Stone Mountain was like the rich area, coming from where we were coming from on the other end of Memorial Drive. But now, it's Stone Mountain has become just like the other end of Memorial Drive, the East Atlanta side, the West DeKalb side. It's just as bad now, y'all. The drugs, the violence, the crime is going up in Stone Mountain. But yet, they want to charge people an arm and a leg to stay in these apartments that are falling apart, which I just don't understand. It's sad that these companies are being allowed to do so. And like I was speaking about those apartments that I was in with the clubhouse that they put over there, these apartments were going for no less than $1,000 a month. And the cheapest, the lowest end apartment wasn't even 800 square feet. But yet they want $1,000. And it's not like you're staying in downtown Atlanta or downtown Decatur somewhere where it's nice. And so that's why homelessness is going up. And it's just going to continue to go up. You're going to have more and more people out here sleeping on mortar benches or sleeping behind dumpsters in grocery stores, having to ask people for money and for food because of what society is doing. And then on top of all of that, there's a president that's in the White House that is causing everything to go up as well, because he does not care about the little people. Just like these people that's buying up these houses, these owners of these apartments, they don't care about the little people. They only care about their bottom line. And all they want to do is get more and more money out of people. They let their properties continue to go down, and then they turn around and sell it. And or they just let it be. For example, over in Atlanta, they call them Forest Cove apartments, which these apartments were privately owned. But what the owner did is he got all the money he wanted, or she got all the money that she wanted, and then turned around and just let it go downhill. And those were some of the worst apartments you could have ever seen. I had one of my family members who stayed over there. And so I went over there to visit him or what have you, chill out with him. And I mean, you're talking about apartments with boarded up windows, boarded up doors because somebody done kicked the door in. People stand inside these apartments now, y'all. It's just sad, the measures that we have to go to or go through in order to keep a roof over our heads, because in the grand scheme of things, the government nor the people that are in power or that have money truly care about us. And all they can tell you is, well, you got to do better for yourself. You got to do better for yourself. Even doing better for yourself, going from a $10 an hour job to a $20 an hour job is not enough to be staying in an area where you have to keep a look over your shoulder, and you're paying $1,000 a month, to where if you make $20 an hour, $1,000 a month is majority of the money that you make a month at $20 an hour. So we got to really think about these things, and we got to figure out a way to stop these companies and from being able to do what they're doing to the people. And these apartments were so terrible that we had to go, and so I moved from the back end to the front because I felt like it was safer to be in the front. And doggone it, I was here scratching behind the walls, and lo and behold, it was rats in the apartments. And like I said, I was only paying $435 a month, yeah. But these are the same apartments that are now going for $900 a month. And I guarantee you that they are still having the same issues that I had and others were having 10 years ago. But like I said, do the math. $20 an hour. And once you start factoring in taxes, your health care, if you're able to afford it, and all these other things, that $1,000 that you're paying for a 1-bedroom apartment in a rundown area will take all of your money. Gone. And I know people don't like the thought of government housing, but government housing, especially now, is a necessity, y'all. But all they're doing is replacing these government housing areas with apartments and townhomes and single family homes that nobody, for the most part, can afford. Even the ones that are living in these places are probably still stretching their money thin to stay in these places. I work out in Gwinnett County, and in downtown Lawrenceville, they used to have some government housing, and all of that has been torn down, just like they were had done in Atlanta. And now you have this mixed-use area. Oh, it's nice looking, but I guarantee you these people are paying $2,000-$3,000 a month to stay there, to where the people that used to stay there have been forced out to different counties or probably living out on the streets, and they let a few of them stay there, but it's not enough. And what I see for the future of this country is that it's truly going to end up being a third world nation. It is. Because like I say, you can bring as many jobs as you want to this country. But if these jobs are not paying enough for people to be able to live and to live comfortably, you're going to have a lot of people forced out into the streets. Because I'm going to do the math. $20 an hour. Let's say you're lucky to work 40 hours a week. You're talking about $800 a week. $1,600 every 2 weeks. $3,200 a month. Out of that $3,200, you're going to pay, or you should be at least paying about $800 a month in taxes. So that takes your $3,200 down to $2,400. If you got health insurance, depending on what company you work for, you know, if you work for the government, you may luck up and be able to get health insurance for a couple of $100s a month. But let's just say on average, you're paying about $500 a month for health insurance, in which at one point in my life, I was paying $1,200 a month for health insurance for one company that I worked for. So we have to put these things into perspective. But let's just say $500 a month. That take you from $2,400 to $1,900. And then you paying, let's just say the low end for an apartment, you paying $900 a month for an apartment. That brings you down to $1,000 a month. Do you have an automobile? Because you're gonna need transportation. So whether you got an automobile or a motor car, let's just say you got to pay $300 a month for those. So now you're at $600 a month. That didn't include your utilities. Let's just say you're paying another $150 to $200 a month for utilities. That brings you down from $600 to about $400, $500. Let's just say $500. You get where I'm going with this, y'all, to where they are making it more and more difficult for people to be able to live and survive in this country. And it's because of the private sector. They want to make everything private. Let's privatize everything. But in doing so, there are no regulations whatsoever on what these people are doing and are being allowed to do. And the rich are going to tell you, that's private is the best route to go. They want to privatize everything because that's how they made their money. By ripping off people, by taking advantage of people's situations. So they agree to privatizing everything. They don't want the government regulating anything around them. Because with regulations, that means that if you do something that you ain't supposed to do, you can lose your license. You can have to pay fines or whatever it may be. And that's the problem, y'all. And it's sad. But we don't have enough people to see the realities of life, and they're so caught up in what they have, and opposed to what majority of the people have. And they don't want to see the facts. They don't want to see the truth. They don't like to hear the fact or hear the phrases about government help, government assistance. They think that that's a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Look at Canada. Their health care is paid for by their government. That means that leaves more money in the people's pockets in order to pay for other things. Look at what the private sector has done to the people as far as health insurance. Like I said, I was paying $1,200 a month when I worked for one company for health insurance. And then when I did have a lower cost on my health insurance, they didn't cover anything, to the point where I was still having to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket because they didn't pay for this or because they didn't pay for that. And the only piece that I had was a piece of paper or a card saying that I have health insurance. But I still had to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket several times because they didn't pay for everything. So y'all, we need to wake up to the facts and wake up to reality and stop letting these people put these ignorant thoughts into our minds as far as government being bad. As far as, oh, you can do better for yourself. That's what they say. But how many jobs truly that are out there that's going to pay you $30 an hour? There's not many jobs out there that's going to pay $30 an hour. But yet you need to do better for yourself. People need to wake up and stop drinking this ignorant tea and face the facts. And the facts are that the cost of things need to go down. Because in the long run, no matter how much money they pay you per hour, it's difficult to be able to live if you have a family and you're just not out there on your own or staying at home with your parents or have roommates. And I see it way too often as well, to where people are having to rent out their basement to people because they can't afford to stay in the house that they're in. So they have to make extra income. Or people having to live in other people's basements because it's more reasonable as far as the cost, as opposed to staying in an apartment on their own. Y'all, it's just terrible, man. I swear. And like I say, I can see it. I can see that into the future, this country is going to be so far gone that it's not going to be able to bounce back. It's just not. And you got this rich so-called president in the White House who doesn't care. He doesn't, y'all. And then what they do is they go out and they find people that agree to the nonsense that he speaks of, and they allow them to come to the different press conferences to cheer him on. But in reality, the majority of the people do not see things the way that he sees things. But it's like a studio audience is basically what they have, y'all. They have a studio audience that cheers for everything that he does. He only allows certain people from the press to come into his different meetings so that they can side with him, which that's what communist countries do. They only allow people that agree with them to come around them. It's sad, man. And this dude is just going to help destroy this country even more than it's already failing us. And it's not just one president's fault. It's not just Biden's fault. It's not just Obama's fault. It's not just the Bushes. It's been the build-up. And we've built up to the point where we have this crazy guy in the White House. We have more and more people that are going hungry and becoming homeless day after day. Because I've not ever seen this much homelessness, y'all. And I've always paid attention to it, believe it or not. Even as a child, I paid attention to it. And it's gotten worse. It's not ever been this bad. Because at least people had a safe haven in the projects. You get what I'm saying? You could go somewhere and have a roof over your head and not have to worry about how your family's gonna eat, how you gonna get school clothes for your children. But all that's gone, y'all. And they thought that they were doing a good thing by doing that. They didn't do any good to society by doing what they've done. But y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay strong. And man, I just hope and pray that Jesus come back soon. And I know it sounds crazy for me to say something like that, but I mean it. And I say it sounds crazy because people have been hearing that for years and years, and all they've seen is things around them get worse and worse. I understand, y'all. But I hope and pray that that's the case, because I'm tired of seeing the people suffer. I truly am. I hate to see people out here struggling and out here suffering. I hate to hear that children have to go hungry. I hate to see that women have to do certain things with their bodies in order to make money, to keep a roof over their head, and in order to feed their children as well. I hate that. I hate that we have to, all the things that we have to go through, y'all. I hate it. But y'all stay safe out there, like I say, man, and I'll talk to y'all soon.